Hello from the Martin Center. We are here at the EPP Congress 2024 in Bucharest, and I'm glad to introduce our guest, Marco Pancini, Head of EU Affairs at Meta. And we are here with him today to talk about the place of social media in our modern democracies and in times of disruption. From increasing polarization to the spreading of misinformation and disinformation, but also to the challenges and opportunities brought by new technologies such as artificial intelligence, we really have a lot to talk about today with you, Marco. So, how does Meta see the relationship between social media and the functioning of democratic processes, particularly in the current times and ahead of elections taking place this year in Europe and also elsewhere?
Thank you very much for having me. It's actually great to be here in celebrating democracy in a certain sense. We all, representatives from the institutions, companies, civil society are here today, but we are living these 100 days before the election really in a way that is very intense, and we absolutely feel our responsibility. That's why we are investing a lot in getting prepared for the elections. It's not something that we are starting now. It's actually the result of a lot of learnings, a lot of work, more than 200 elections. If we count from 2016, we have been involved, and which is leading us in order to really offer the best of our tools, from artificial intelligence to human intervention, in order to allow the 2 billion people that are coming every day on our platform to have a robust and solid democratic debate. Just to give you a few numbers, we have something like 40,000 people working on safety and security at Meta, and actually 15,000 are going to work for the European election in a way or in another to make sure that the European elections are safe.
Going to the topic of the challenges and also the opportunities, we know that social media are often facing criticism for the spreading of misinformation and for contributing in a way to polarization. What further steps is Meta taking to address concerns about the potential manipulation of public opinion through its platforms, and how are you trying to empower users?
One important learning from our experience is that we cannot do this alone. That's why we are building a network of fact-checkers that are helping us in order to make sure that if misinformation is harmful, for example, misinformation is affecting the ability for people to have information, like reliable information about the vote, or even is creating a situation where violence could arise. In this case, thanks to the work of our fact-checkers, we are removing this kind of content. But also in case of classic, in brackets, disinformation or misinformation tactics, our fact-checkers are actually helping us in identifying eventual lies in statements posted on our platform, and we are taking action on this content by, for example, demoting it, or by, for example, offering to user additional information coming from third parties, like even fact-checkers, in order to really to understand the context and have a better appreciation of the quality of the information that is offered on our platform.
And how does Meta collaborate also with governments and regulatory bodies in the EU, let's say, to strike a balance between freedom of expression, so freedom of users using your platforms, and also preventing the misuse of the platforms for harmful activities?
We have to say that especially after the incredible good work of the last Commission, the last European institution, now we have a very solid legal framework in which we are operating, which is including the DSA, but also, for example, the political ads regulation that was recently approved. What does it mean? It means that in the context of this collaboration, we have a good dialogue happening with the institutions. And also we are very happy to receive notice that some piece of content is not in line, for example, with our policies. And in this case, we are taking action and we are removing it. And I think it's always very important to remember, like, you know, the first thing to do is, if something is not okay and is not in line with our policies, is to move towards removing it. And so collaboration and with institutions is very important from this point of view, because it's only through the collaboration that we can really strike the right balance between fundamental rights like freedom of expression and freedom of keeping the user safe on our platform.
And malicious foreign interference is another big topic, particularly ahead of elections. So I'm wondering, what steps has Meta taken to prevent foreign interference and undue influence on political discourse through its platforms?
Absolutely, absolutely. Foreign interference means like a coordinated effort to spread the malicious information, disinformation that can actually affect the democratic debate. So this is a very important issue we are working on. From this point of view, misinformation is one of the tactics that are used by this organization. We have teams that are really looking closely at what's happening on our platform, like studying every possible red alert that can come from behaviors and take action against this network. Just to give you an idea, in the last years we took action on something like 200 of attempt to attack our platform with misinformation. That said, from our point of view, from our vantage point, from our experts, we are hearing that nothing is happening in relation to the European election. We are also very, very vigilant, and we're going to be vigilant from now to the election in order to make sure that everything is happening accordingly to the expectation.
Innovation and technology is another big aspect of the discussion. So I want to wrap up this interview by looking at the future. What innovations is Meta exploring to make social media a more constructive force in shaping the democratic discourse? And how does Meta envision the role of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, but also virtual reality and augmented reality in influencing the future of social media and democracy?
So actually AI is part of the solution. If you think about activities that are not okay with our policies, like for example hate speech, 90% of this content is flagged by our machine learning tools before it's flagged from any user or institution. So AI can be part of the solution. At the same time, we are absolutely aware of the risk that AI could represent for the democratic discourse. One example is the use of deep fakes to create malicious activities around the democratic debate in view of the election. In this regard, we are working together with the industry to create a standard. Very recently, we announced in Munich about this standard, which is going to allow to share information between different tech companies in order to identify manipulated content posted on our platform through AI and share this information across the industry. That said, it's very important to remember that what is like a fake information or what is an illegal piece of content, if it's generated by a human or it's generated by a machine, for us is the same. Our goal is to take action against this kind of content, so remove it. So our policies are applicable to both these cases. And on top of that, we are also exploring technological ways to make sure that on one side, if we identify, thanks to the help of our fact checkers, that the content is altered, we can signal this to our users and inform them about this case. On the other side, if a piece of content is generated through our AI tools, to make sure that this content is actually labeled as generated by a machine, and so to make sure that users know what they are looking at or reading on our platform.
Thank you so much, Marco, for your insights, and thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more Market Center interviews here at the EPP Congress Bucharest 2024. See you soon.